Y'all, ClickUp is one of the coolest tools, and one of the things I love most about it is that you can create forms to gather content. And I'm going to show you a use case where you are going to collect data from people to put in a blog post or something else. You can even use this for testimonials, whatever. I just want to show you how to create a form so that you can get content from other people and get it right into your ClickUp so that you can get it into your processes and use that information. Hello, I'm Monica Snyder, and I am so excited that you're here. I talk about email marketing, digital marketing, all kinds of things, and how to automate stuff. And if you think that is fun, you should subscribe. Now we're going to talk about ClickUp, and the best way I know to do that is to jump right on into this computer. All right, I'm going to show you how to do this. Basically, this is a ClickUp form that you can use to get all kinds of things. The example I'm going to show you today is a roundup post submission that I use to make this blog post on my blog. So if you scroll down, you can see like right here, this submission came from Robin Kennedy, the email marketing heroes. They're really great. And I have a few other submissions on this page. And so here's Lindley, and there's a couple of others. But I basically wanted to weave my friends into this blog post. So that is why I wanted to make this form, because I asked them, right? And then I needed to give them a simple way to give information to me. Let's jump into ClickUp. And what I have here is I have it in its own list. So if you look over here on the left, this is in my roundups list. And I have these 3 submissions. I showed you those that I did. What I want to show you is how to make this form, okay? So the way that you do that is you go into view and you add a form down here. Down here, you see it's way down here. And then you just click add view and it'll pull this up. Okay, and so it's going to look really blank and really boring. Now, the thing about form design is that you want to think of exactly what fields you need. And I'm going to show you in this example because it's a little bit easier because it's an actual real life example. But you can see I gave them a headline. They already knew what they were coming to do because I asked them in like, an email or something like that. I said, hey, like, what do you want to submit to this? And this is what I'm doing. But I also reminded them here. And then I put a link here. So this is the example of the style I was formatting. I was actually inspired by this post that I'm in Forbes. There's like 8 of us shared a thing, and you can see all of it is here. But we, submitted this, and here's the data that we got was a name and a business name. And you can see that these are linked. And so that was where I got inspiration from. And so that's why over here, I wanted to model that. Now, I also wanted them to get it done for a deadline, right? So I had a deadline for this. I wanted to make sure to do this. And in the forms, if you're viewing, it's like this, but you edit, you can actually make any of these, you can format them. So you can format them here to like a heading 2, right? Like, oh, hey, this is really big. And this, by the way, is Grammarly. So if you see this popping up in my editing, it's that I do use Grammarly. So definitely when you're editing, give people context of why they're filling out this form. And it's really helpful. And just to remind them, even if they already know why they're filling out the form, just remind them and put any useful information up at the top of this form. Now, since these forms are going to turn into tasks, the one thing you want to make sure that you have is a task name. So you can see that that is my first field here. And if I click edit, then you can see it says T name, but it's also a hidden field. And this is for the task name. You can make things hidden by clicking over here. And that way your person doesn't see them. So if you come over to viewing, you won't see the task name because I don't want the person entering this data to enter a task name. I just have it set up to be this, the email marketing tips and tricks. So that way I always have the same task name so that I can use this form for different things if I want, but really I would probably clone it. So that is how you set the task name, and that is definitely something that you want to set. Then these other fields are really just what I want them to fill out. And you'll notice I have them all marked as required. So you can check this box and do that. Now these are already set up, and I just want to go over a little bit of why I chose the fields, and then I'm going to show you how to add new fields. So why I chose this field is obviously I want their name as they want it to appear, because I have friends and, I call them one name, but maybe they formally go by another name or something like that. So I let them decide what they want to call it. Then I get their email. Not that I probably don't already have it, but I like to have it all in one place so that I can get that information. And if you see here, I'm, in the world of marketing. So I wrote, hey, only in case I need to reach you, I will not use this or put it on my list. Now, I think these people that I asked to do this are already on my list, but I wanted to let them know how I'd be using their email. And then this is their submission, right? And so they're going to be entering text here. They're going to do whatever they want and then upload their preferred photo. So this is where they can drag and drop files, but this gives them the chance to choose what photo I'm going to feature. The next thing I wanted to do is make sure that I knew what link that they wanted to be linked in the article that I was creating, and then also what that link anchor text should be. So they are getting SEO juice from this, and that's too much for this thing, but basically you want backlinks. So where did they want those backlinks to go? And then the next thing is I wanted to put their name linked to a social media. So that is what I asked them for. And that's it. I did not want to make this complicated or confusing or overwhelming for them. When you're creating a form, one of the main things you want to think about is getting people to complete it. So don't put too many fields on there and only use critical information. And if you are asking for something that seems like it would be an odd thing to give during this form, then explain why. So if I was asking them something for what is their email list size? Well, why do they need to tell me that in this form? But maybe I need to know that so that I can brag on them, so that I can explain, why people should listen to them for this tip on email marketing. Just make sure to explain any form that might make somebody go, ooh, why am I filling this out? Because if they stop and think about why they're filling it out, they're going to stop filling it out. To create a form, all you really have to do is see this little thing down here. It says add field by dragging into this area. You just have to add a field to drag into that area. Now, this is where custom fields comes in really well with ClickUp. So you can just add a custom field. So let's say I did want to do that list size. Now, the question I would ask myself is, what kind of field is this? So let's briefly talk about the different kinds of fields, because what ClickUp will do, which is so cool, is that they will make the user interface for these different, because they know that you need to enter things differently. So drop down, you see this all the time. It's like, select the country that you live in or select the state that you live in. Star rating. So this is, using emojis or rates. So this might be fun to do. So let's give this one a name. And then you can set up something like a rating here, and then the emoji type. So you can pick any emoji. So you could give it, 5 dancing people, and you can say, I want, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you create it, what'll happen is it'll come over here on the left, and then you need to drag it in. And then you see it's got this how would you rate this tip? And if you come up here to view it, then you can see your dancing girls up here, and you can, pick how many ever this is, right? How fun is that? Now, there's a couple things I want to show you here too, is that you can make this not required for the person to enter by unchecking this box. And then these 3 little drop downs will say, also add it to the task description. And what that means is that when it actually creates the task after someone fills this out, that it will put it here on this task description. So let me show you what that looks like here in my list view. So let's look at Lindley's submission. And you can see I have all the custom fields here from the form, and everything is in it nice and neat, and I can copy them out and use them however I want. And then in the task description, I also have them because I had that checked for everything. And the reason that I did that is because, well, it defaults to that and I forgot to uncheck it. But you can keep it nice and organized by having everything in these fields. So go ahead and create whatever fields make the most sense for your form, and try to pick what would be best for the person entering it so that they get the right data. So go ahead and choose the fields that you need to gather the information for, and choose the field creation here in ClickUp to match closest. And that just makes it easier for the user and for you, especially if something like email, right? They're going to validate, ClickUp is going to validate that it is an email address before it will allow someone to submit the form. And that's really important for you if you are using this form data in an automation afterwards, or for anything else where you need that field to be validated to be correct. Now, same with phone and same with money. So it's just going to validate those in a different way than it would be if you just did an open text field. Now, one thing I want to clarify is the difference between a dropdown and a checkbox. So you're going to use a dropdown when there are multiple options, but somebody can only select one. And you're going to use a checkbox when there are multiple options and people can select more than one. That is something that I see people get confused about all the time, so I just wanted to call that one out specifically. The best thing you can do is put the field on that you think is going to work the best, and then go ahead and add it and view it as the person viewing it. Then when you are ready to send this out, over here on the top is the copy link. So you can just copy this and go ahead and go to a browser, and you can see your form is here. You can submit it to test it. So that's really fun, and see what happens. Now, I just want to point out a couple of other cool things that ClickUp forms can do. You can redirect somebody to a different URL once they have submitted the form. So I just created this page on my blog, and I redirect people that submit this form to this page because I want them to be as excited as I am. So there is that. And you can do that by entering that URL here. You can also change the colors, turn off the ClickUp branding, which I think is nice. And you can add your fields that people enter into the task. That's what this one is. And you can also choose to keep your fields full width. If you toggle this, you can see that they just kind of all go the same width. I don't personally do that because I don't find it to be necessary, but you can if you want. And then adding reCAPTCHA is to basically keep bots off the page. So I don't turn this on unless I'm getting a lot of bot traffic or a lot of fake traffic, and then you can turn it off. A couple of other things, I do like to take this link and put it into Pretty Links or Link Shortener. to make it a little prettier, because it's usually pretty ugly, go ahead and set your picture up here, because that way people feel like they know where they're at. And a couple other things that is fun about this is after somebody submits, over here you can set who the tasks get assigned to, and you can select a task template. So if you want to use a template for this task, it's really easily done right here. You can also trigger automations when your tasks get created. Up here in Automate, you can add an automation that happens when the task is created. So if you wanted to assign this to an editor or assign this to somebody else, you can do that. And one of the cooler ones, I think, is if you come down here into integrations and email, you can actually send an email when this task is integrated if you want to send somebody a custom thank you email for submitting this form. So that is how you create a ClickUp form for use in any scenario you can think of. I like to use it for any time I need like standardized information to come into my ClickUp, or just to gather content from people, because I know that they love to use Google Forms and things like that, but I think ClickUp forms are so much prettier. Don't you? Coming up on the screen now is another ClickUp video for you to watch, so I hope you enjoy watching that and learning about ClickUp just as much as I do, because it really helps automate your business processes.